TLO here for the Parley, alongside 15-year NBA veteran and former boxer Kendall Gill. Good to see you, sir.
Great to see you, TLO. We've been gone far too long. Glad to see you all as well. Can't wait to get this season kicked off.
Absolutely, and don't forget the show is sponsored by 6040 Coda Gear. More of that coming later on in the show and more episodes as well. We're happy to have you guys. Again, it's been a while since we've been back, but we are officially here for 2023, covering everything boxing and that's going on in the world of combat sports. Today, though, we're going to kick off our season kind of on a low note. We all know and are familiar with what happened last night. This is obviously Wednesday in the week, but last night a horrible event occurred in the NFL on Monday night. I'm sorry, it's Tuesday today, but a horrible event in the NFL last night versus the Bills and the Bengals. And, of course, we all know that Damar Hamlin yesterday collapsed in the first quarter of the game. It was a horrific event. He made a standard tackle. When you look at the footage, made a standard tackle and got up for about a second or two and then just fell backwards and a collapse, essentially. And just a horrible hit, because we end up finding out later on that he was in cardiac arrest due to the hit that happened. And we'll go into more detail in a bit here about what happened. But we're talking about it on the Parlay here because it's a major event. It has to do with, obviously, physicality, and boxing is a sport that deals with that. But we've never seen this in the NFL. No. So, KG, like, I'll ask you, like, how did you feel, first of all, when you saw it happen?
Well, it brings back the memories of Hank Gathers. And Hank Gathers was a friend of mine, a player that played at Loyola Marymount years ago, back in 1990, in which he collapsed due to cardiac arrest. And unfortunately for Hank, he passed away later on that day. It was, I immediately started thinking about Hank when it happened. And, it just lets you know that even you can be the strongest guy in the world, that anything is possible. Anything can happen to you. So you have to be thankful for all of the things that you have. You have to be thankful for your health. Hopefully, he will recover from this and, move on. I doubt whether he plays football again, but move on with a healthy and productive life.
Yeah, the report is, on the field at least, that he had to be resuscitated at least twice. Yeah. And they did get his heartbeat. They got his pulse back on the field, which was good news. But again, I was watching coverage all day all night last night and today, and people were saying they've never seen ambulances come out on the football field.
No, never. And just the same thing when Hank collapsed. We saw the paramedics come out immediately. And you knew it was serious by last night by the way that everybody was working to revive him. We knew that this was not a concussion. We knew that this was something more serious than that at the particular time. And I was actually doing the Bulls telecast at the time that it happened, so I couldn't really pay attention to it live. I had to go back and look at the replays later on. And, it seemed like just a routine tackle, and then out of nowhere, he goes into cardiac arrest.
Yeah, it was so unfortunate. And, and the reason we're talking about it again, as I mentioned earlier, is that when I did see this, the first thing I thought, obviously, is his health, safety. Yeah. Please, God, just don't let this man die on the field. Like, that would have been horrible. But it reminded me, obviously, because this is what we do, boxing. Another dangerous sport where guys are going for each other's heads, and we have a couple examples of this. Obviously, my example being, obviously I follow Puerto Rican boxers, is Pritchard. Pritchard, a Puerto Rican boxer who his career ended very late due to a hit on the back of the head, a rabbit hit, and back of the head, and the hit wasn't even that hard. It was just it kind of slated him a bit, and from that, he completely became paralyzed. And he's not
Unfortunately, caught him in the right spot, and he is now still suffering from the effects of that punch, and that lets you know that we, as professional athletes, it's dangerous. But the athletes play it because they love it, and some are willing to give their lives for it. Boxers in particular. because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of fighters that have died in the ring. We've never seen a player on the football field pass away. But I tell you, that's why you have to be thankful and grateful. Back in the day when during my playing career, I used to pray before every game.
Yeah.
That I come out healthy, that the guys that I'm competing against come out healthy. And, I'm just hoping that the same thing happens for Mr. Hamlin.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And, speaking of Mr. Hamlin, his brother had made a statement earlier. I'm going to read it to you guys in kind of what happened in the background. He said, quote, his heart had went out, so they had to resuscitate him twice. Yeah. They resuscitated him on the field before they brought him to the hospital, and then they resuscitated him a second time when they got him to the hospital. So I'm just imagining, like, his family was there that day. And they showed video of him saying hi to his family, took a little selfie, did his thing. I'm just imagining, like, they just saw that happen to the family member's son, and then they're in the hospital.
Well,
hours later.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm glad his family was there.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm glad that they didn't have to watch that on television and not know what was going on.
Yeah.
Because, can you imagine if they had been like thousands of miles away and watching this on TV, unfold on TV, and not being totally out of control, not knowing what's going on or anything. So, thank God that they were there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, as we talk here about the Hamlin situation, obviously we're mentioning how he is in the hospital right now. He's still in critical condition is the report right now, Tuesday. On today's date, January 3rd. So he's still fighting for his life. And we obviously send our prayers out to the Hamlin family. But, what can be done in sports like boxing, football, just physical sports in general, MMA, to prevent something like this? Or is it just kind of a situation where it's an individual that just suffered it?
Yeah, you can't prevent anything from happening, not like we saw last night.
Or will we see rule changes? That's the
we
one
want.
thing
I mean, I don't think you'll see rule changes either because it was just a routine tackle. Something that they do each and every play. So I think it was just an anomaly. It was just an event that was out of everybody's control. And I keep going back to Hank Gathers, but that was out of everybody's control.
Right.
Hank was just running back down the court on defense and just collapsed. And these things do happen in sports, unfortunately. And that's part of the ugly side of athletics that we have to look at.
Yeah, and there's plenty of examples as well. Rockman, I remember Rockman flying out the ring and hitting his head right next to Jim Lampley.
Yeah,
in the middle of the broadcast.
Bernard Hopkins too.
Oh,
against Joe Smith being knocked out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then several other one-punch knockouts where you've seen the guy just totally lose all faculties, where they fall face first. You can go back to when Thomas Hearns hit Roberto Duran, and knocked him out. I feared for Roberto Duran's life at that point.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate, but this is a side that we have to deal with professional sports. It's the ugly side, but things do happen.
We're talking about the Hamlin injury here on the parlay here. TLO here, Kendall Gill there. It stinks to start the year this way. Obviously, sports are kind of getting into to their groove, right? Football's getting ready for the playoffs. The NBA is getting ready for the All-Star weekend. It's obviously baseball's getting ready. Hockey's in full throttle. So it's a very busy time in sports, and NCAA football, by the way, which is going crazy right now.
Yeah,
had a great weekend.
Great weekend of football. Yeah.
But we saw in the NCAA football games there was 2 targeting calls that should have essentially been called.
Yeah, they should have been called, but unfortunately, they didn't. But listen, I don't think that they really had a huge outcome or a huge influence on the game. All of these games were high scoring. They were dramatic. They had intrigue, drama, and everything. Hey, listen, I'm just glad Michigan lost.
That was crazy. I'm sure you were.
I'm still mad at Michigan for the Final Four loss that I have against them, man. So, a lot of people say, listen, when your team loses, you should still root for the team out in your conference. I will never root for Michigan.
So there's a couple prime examples of divisions where you don't do that.
Yeah. I'm not rooting for those guys at all, man.
I definitely hear you.
Yeah.
And then the last thing here, when it comes down to this situation and again, very unfortunate, you know, and this is not a priority, what I'm about to say. This is something that is out there. Fantasy football players, right?
Yeah.
Fantasy football, what's going to happen with that, and how are they going to redo that? Again, they've already said that the game has not been scheduled yet, as of yet. They have week 18 planned, but that game hasn't been scheduled. And then what happens? Do they make up that game in week 18 with the other teams? It's a big scheduling thing, that's an issue that's happened. Again, something that's never happened before, and I'm really curious to see how they're going to work this out.
Yeah, we're in uncharted waters right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how the NFL will deal with this crisis. Of course, I think they did the right thing by postponing the game. You cannot play a game when there's a man's life on the line. Yeah. That's why I totally disagree with Skip Bayless's tweet. Yeah. I understood what he was saying, but it was just the wrong timing. And you cannot be worried about a game when somebody's life is on the line. And now we'll see how the NFL does it. They may do it where they allow them to play the regular scheduled game on Sunday, this coming Sunday, but then play a Thursday night game. Yeah, that may happen. I mean, if it has any implications on the season.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure they'll work something out. And you know, at the end of the day, when it comes down to stuff like this, money is involved.
Money, oh yeah. Oh,
and things will get done. So we'll see what happens. Again, our prayers go out to the Hamlin family, especially obviously Hamlin himself. We wish a full recovery for you to live and for you to walk another day, man. So prayers are going out to you, my guy.
Most definitely.
This is The Parley. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and all the notifications that are right there in that description box. Sign up for the bell. Do all that. We're also going to be, our new home will be on Anchor for any podcast people who just want to hear us as well. So we're going to be announcing that. But we are going to be on Anchor, and soon we are going to be on Apple Music. So our Apple Podcast, I'm sorry. Yes, so be ready for that. Again, you'll find us. You can't miss us now. We're on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Apple Podcast, and of course Anchor, which is going to be our mainstay for all of our audio. But if you want to see us, because we are handsome men, you stick to YouTube. This is The Parley. What's up, guys? TLO from The Parley, Kendall Gill. If you like what you saw, follow, subscribe, visit us on our website, all that stuff. Do it. You know what I'm about to do right now, though?
What's that?
I'm about to go beat your record in 2K. 11 steals. 11 steals.
Just as long as you do it on 2K.
11 steals. Easy.
As long as you do it on 2K. Just don't do it on the court for real.
When I pull up on a hater, watch a hater fall back. I'm too good with these hands, watch a hater fall flat. If I die, all I know, I'm a legend. It's so great for my city. I'm the realest one that's repping.